What's going on, everybody? Episode 7 of the We Talk in New York podcast. Been a little while since we jumped on here, but wanted to wait till after the trade deadline and the NFL free agency went on. But first and foremost, Brian, how you doing, buddy? How's life? How's everything going?
Matthew, how's it hanging? We're doing good.
Everything's good over here too. All right, so a lot of stuff has happened. Let's start with the NHL trade deadline, shall we? So the New York Islanders had an outstanding trade deadline. They did so much. I'm kidding. They fucking didn't do shit. Which in some cases is probably good. In my opinion, I was okay. At first, I was kind of pissed off, but then I realized I'm used to it. That the Islanders just don't do anything on trade deadline. But this time it was a little different. I was hoping they would sign, or I mean, trade for a bottom six forward or even a defenseman, because for whatever reason, Lou Lamoriello thinks that this team will just stay healthy all season. And I mean, he doesn't really think a team like this team can get injured. I mean, we like Robert. You traded for Robert Tuzo before the season or midseason, whatever the hell it was, and I don't like he hasn't played that much. Like he's been injured, so I don't really know why we didn't try for something. But he came out. I like that he still comes out and talks to the media afterwards and says like he didn't want to give up money and draft picks. Um, just to make a trade, so really I'm not too mad that we didn't just force a trade and lose our draft picks, because now we actually have draft picks going into this year's draft. So the Islanders, I'm gonna give them like a C plus for their trade deadline, just because of the no trades and just being smart about it. So that's my opinion on it. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that trade deadline
Well,
with the Islanders.
we were talking. Thanks. So we were talking. You were talking about it. We were talking about it last time. So you kind of called it. You were like, "Yeah, they're not going to do anything. It's going to be a joke."
Yeah.
But then I was saying, I think about the Rangers, but I guess same rules apply. Like you can't really do something you can't make like a knee jerk reaction to either other teams that are in the same like division or kind of fighting for the same playoff spots as you. You can't sacrifice or deviate from your own game plan just because somebody made a splashy move. So if this was their way of saying, "Hey, listen, like it's just not our time for this," then you got to respect that, I suppose, and hope that they have some sort of other. Sorry, my light's all fucked up. Some other like plan in place for, I guess, the rest of the season and then the off season on how they're gonna approach some of the glaring holes on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of frustrated throughout the day. Like I was at work and I was watching the free agency, and I saw all of the teams around us just getting better. In my opinion, you had the Hurricanes getting Jake Gensel. Eventually, you will meet up with them. You had, I'll get into the Rangers in a second, so I won't mention what they did. But then you had Carolina also getting Evgeny Kuznetsov. I was blotching that name from the Capitals. And the Flyers, I think they made some moves. I don't remember who specifically. I'm kind of blanking on it. Apologize for that. But we just basically basically the teams around us were getting a lot like better, if not, or just a pat. But pretty much every team around us were getting better. So to piggyback into like off of what I was saying about the Rangers were active. Early before the trade deadline, they went out and got Alexander Wenberg. They gave up a second round pick for 2024, and then 2025 a fourth round pick conditionally. So I don't think the Wenberg trade really needed to be done. I mean, Wenberg is a decent player. He's coming from Seattle, and he had a pretty good solid year last year for Seattle. So maybe he'll like fit a little bit into that lineup in case someone gets injured or something. So it's like a it's an okay trade. I it didn't really at first I was like why, but then you know it could work. It could work. We'll see what happens. Then on the trade deadline day, they did just get Chad Ruhedel from the Penguins for a fourth round pick in 2027. And then I guess maybe you would say probably someone who fit almost right away was Jack Roslovic that they got from Carolina for a 2026 fourth round pick. And, I think that one kind of will fit because it seems for the game I watched, he was pretty noticeable for the Rangers. Um, I thought that it was a pretty decent trade. Um, yeah, but surprisingly the Rangers didn't do what I said on the last podcast. I said that maybe they'll move Zibanejad, right? And they didn't. They actually didn't give up any players. They gave up just their draft picks, and smart. That's smart. You didn't give up the people that we thought they would trade, and honestly, the Islanders didn't either. I said Anders Lee. You had Brock Nelson thrown in there as a name. You had JG Padro thrown in there as a name, but they didn't give up any of their core players. So I think the Rangers had um, a pretty strong trade deadline, just because they are actually going to be competing for a cup this year, and I think the Islanders are just like taking it slow and seeing what happens throughout the season. But yeah, so I think that was a pretty decent trade, and I'll give them like an A minus for that. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. No,
Good, nicely said.
thank you. All right, so why don't we
You're
move
welcome.
on to um the other pickup stage in the NFL? We had the free agency uh, time. So why don't we start with the Giants? Because we always talk about the Jets. So why don't we go with the Giants first? So nothing too crazy. They signed Devil Singletary. That was a pretty nice signing. You lost Saquon Barkley. Like, holy shit. I can't believe Saquon Barkley went to the Eagles. That's insane. So let's say they got Isaiah McKenzie as well for a wide receiver. But dude, Saquon leaving? What do you think of that, bro?
Yeah, so this kind of inspired all of the notes that I was showing you before, which I'll get into as we kind of transition through this part of the pod here. But it was interesting because I was literally at MetLife for the Winter Classic game. They brought Saquon out on the field. Like, it was a month ago, and the fans embraced him. He embraced the fans. Like, I almost have to wonder, like, was this his way of being present as like a send off, knowing that he probably wasn't going to come back, but at the same time, like, yikes! Out of all the teams you could have signed with, you signed with the Eagles. So definitely an interesting development. I wasn't expecting them, but it's a great pickup by them. I just think it solidifies them as a team, especially in the NFC, that's going to keep competing um, for Super Bowls. But is it a big blow for the Giants? We shall see. Some people seem to think so. Other people seem to think not. So I think they have a lot of problems they need to get sorted out first. And this was probably, in hindsight, probably a good move just to kind of hit the reset button a little bit and go from there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be one of those people that think it is a big blow, just because he was like your entire offense right now. You know, they're struggling as it is already, right? And he was like kind of your powerhouse, like really your only source of offense, in my opinion. Now you have Darren Waller retiring, which I guess in my opinion, hooray, because I didn't really like him on the Giants. He really wasn't doing much. It is what it is. But it's got to be a huge kick in the nuts to the Giants fans that some of those people, that's your favorite player, and like he's been on the team for years, and like you just watch them go to your division rival. That's insane. And then
Well, yeah, I agree. I agree with that part.
yeah,
I agree with that part. I'm just saying it's not like they were winning the
yeah,
Super Bowl with him
yeah, exactly.
currently.
And it's like Saquon, and then also fucking Tiki Barber calling him out, saying he's unloyal to the fans. And I don't know, there was a whole bunch of bullshit with the general manager and like what he's actually was offered, and that if he wanted that or if he was chasing money, all that. And in my opinion, I think he was chasing the money because the Eagles offered him money. So he had to do what he had to do. He is a human being, This is his job, right? So you're always going to go for the job that pays you more. And that's what the Eagles did. They paid him
Yeah.
more, and now he's going to have to compete with Jalen Hurts as a running back. And obviously, I know Jalen Hurts is a QB, but we all know.
I don't think this was as big of a blow for the Giants, or I don't think it was. I guess let me put it this way in this context, right? So if you think about, and I kind of always think back to like the Kevin Durant saga from the first time originally when he hit free agency, like he led the Thunder to the conference finals to go on to the championship
The
round,
who?
and
The
they got
the Thunder
what?
Q?
I don't know. The Thunder. Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
drop the fucking Thunder here. Shut up. The Thunder. Yes. OKC. Yes. Shut up.
Okay.
Like, remember when they got to like that conference finals versus the
Yeah,
Warriors
yeah, I remember
to
that.
go on to the championship round? They lost, and then KD went and signed with the Warriors.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess in that aspect, right? Like, it's not as big of a blow for the Giants, but I think from a like purely like what the fuck, like we hate them, and like like you're supposed to hate the Eagles, and now you're going down there.
Mhm.
Um, so I get that part, but I don't think it's going to be as significant because the Giants aren't relevant or as relevant as they should be.
Yeah, but I think if they wanted to get relevant again, then they should have offered this guy all the money in the world. And I think that's what Tiki
Yeah,
Barber's
but
talking about. What you brought up was like you went to the Eagles, like really, and that's what he's talking about, like the loyalty. You went to our rival.
I think if this was after like not this past season, but last season when they made the playoffs, it would be a different situation. But this Giants season was, I don't want to call it a disaster, but it was a disappointment. It was a letdown. They under exceeded their expectations. So it's
Yeah.
I don't think it's like he's not leaving a championship caliber team to go to another championship caliber team.
Yeah, the Giants might be
It's
like in a
like,
rebuild at this point,
yeah,
almost into a rebuild. And they lost their other. I mean, they have Danny Jones, but now I guess also to help the transition here, they also lost Tyrod Taylor as a backup. I guess they're gonna ride that Tony
right.
DeVito as the backup.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It
So
seems like a rough patch for them
yeah,
here.
they're gonna be struggling a little bit. So to transition, yes, the Giants lost Tyrod Taylor to go to the Jets. The Jets ended up signing Tyrod Taylor. He will be the backup to Aaron Rodgers. Um,
We think.
we think. Well, we'll see what happens.
We think.
Let's hope.
Well,
Let's
well. All right, go ahead. I'll let you finish, and then I'll.
Okay. Yeah, no. So like Tyra Taylor will probably be probable to be the backup QB to Aaron Rodgers, but on free agency day they had um pretty active. They had a pretty active day. First off, before that they released that tight end CJ Uzomah. Thank God, he was fucking useless on the field. I didn't like him.
Yeah.
But they
Mm-mm.
re-signed CJ Mosley to a 2-year contract. Perfect. I love CJ Mosley. He's just a fucking beast in my opinion. Some people have mixed emotions about him, but shit, I like him. So I'm happy about that. Corey Davis. He trying to get off the injured list and or retired list, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And everyone was super happy, like, yay, Corey Davis is back. Nope, instantly release him. That's kind of a shame. I kind of like Corey Davis.
Welcome back.
Yeah, like welcome back. See you later.
Bye.
No, but it's fair though. You shouldn't just walk away from football. And now that the team's kind of like around, like getting better, and you're like, oh wait, like I actually do want to play. No, they're gonna go out and probably get somebody else for that slot receiver.
Yeah.
Other big news: they signed Greg the Leg, re-signed him to a 2-year deal. Happy about that. Um, Punter Thomas Morstead, amazing. He's our fucking QB. I mean, he's our QB. He should be the QB, honestly. Um, he's the best punter right now that's been for on the Jets for a while. So I'm very happy about that. Not that. But yeah, just a couple other defensive linemen and the mainly defensive tackles and stuff re-signed or signed. Jets had a pretty good free agency for that side of it, but to actually sign free agents, dude, fucking, I'm giving them an F. I don't know what the fuck they did, what they were trying to do. I mean, because they were not targeting people I wanted them to. There were so many free agents out there that they could have went for, and just didn't. It didn't seem like they. I didn't even see anything in the news that I'm like seeing like, oh, Jets are in the works for whoever. Like, just you could have went and got. You needed a receiver. That would fun. Justin Jefferson's still available. Why haven't you like contacted him? Like, I don't know what Joe Douglas is playing. Like, listen, I was an advocate for Joe Douglas, and I loved him as like our GM because he was making moves and getting the people here that we needed here. But now after this, it's like fuck. We have another Lou Lamoriello who's just not gonna do anything. Insane.
Yeah. I don't know what they're waiting for. I know I think both of us remember from our like first or second episode we had our Christmas wish fucking Christmas wishes. Jesus Christ. Fuck. Anyway, we both got an F on those. Neither one of them is happening. Mike Evans re-signed with Tampa.
Yeah,
Devontae Adams probably not on the move from Vegas.
yeah,
They
not
look like
looking.
they're going to try to compete.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what I saw the other day too that I thought was probably the most Jets headline I've ever seen in my entire life. Robert Kennedy
Oh
Jr.
my god,
potentially
bro.
picking for Aaron Rodgers as vice presidential
Bro,
candidate.
I thought that was a fake
Like
headline. I'm not even joking.
number one, no, number one, and I have this in my notes here, so I'm gonna cross off my notes as we go down the line here. Number one, remember, and I don't know the full situation of it, but remember, probably like 3 or 4 weeks before the end of the season, there was that backup like Jets quarterback or something that started like spreading rumors about Zach Wilson not wanting to play. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Fuck was that guy's name? I don't even remember. A little fucking peon. Anyway, so um, so Rogers was like, "Yeah, we need to clear all that nonsense out of the locker room. Like, it just needs to be football in the locker room, and that's what we need to be solely focused on." Bro, come out and say something like about this. Yeah, like he comes out one day and he's like, "Yeah, I plan on playing 2, 3, maybe even 4 more years," and then this weird, like awkwardly diverse. I don't even know. Like this news comes out about, oh yeah, Kennedy might consider Rogers to be his vice president candidate. Come out and say, yo, I'm solely focused on making the Jets season better this year and focusing on getting back on the field and blah 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 blah. Like this is going to create some sort of problem at some point until I just feel like this is unwarranted media now that like this is kind of creating.
Yeah, it's gonna be random press that the Jets are getting for no reason. I mean, we all know what the press they got
Yeah,
last year with Hard Knocks, but like now that he wants to be a vice president is fucking insane.
I mean he should probably just come back as quarterback because I don't think that.
Well,
I
obviously
mean
he's
I,
gonna
I'm
play
not
this
gonna
season, but like,
make that political, but I don't see how I don't see an athlete jumping into politics and immediately helping,
yeah,
if that
it's
makes
probably not gonna
sense.
work.
I don't think I don't know. I think Rogers, and this isn't me leaning one way or the other politically. I just think Rogers is very spirited in his opinions and ideologies, and I just don't think that he's got the like you need some sort of like give and take to be in that kind of role. I don't know if he has that.
Yeah, if anything goes wrong, he's just gonna be like, everyone chill. Let's just meditate.
Yeah, let me go take 5 days off in the fucking woods in a
To
hammock
decide
somewhere.
if I should be vice president.
Yeah, like no, like just focus on football, dude. Like either that or retire. Shit or get off the pot. Like get out of the way or fully embrace this and fully emerge it and get back to doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Nah, he'll be locked in. He'll be ready for this season. I'm excited for this season. I want to get to a game this season.
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
I want to go. I'll go. When are we going? Are we taking the train? I like the train.
I know.
Doo,
You told
doo.
me.
That was good.
Yeah.
No Anthony though.
No,
He can't come.
no, he sucks.
Fucking leave him there. Fucking leave him there.
All right, so we did the free agency stuff and the trade deadline stuff. Actual hockey. I just want to go back about this. The Islanders went on that
Hockey.
6-game winning streak, and then now have lost 2 straight as of this recording. You know, life's great. And fucking, they didn't show up last night. Just brutal. Lost to the Sabres. Kings, you kind of expected. The Kings are red hot right now, but they need to come out on Saturday and Sunday. Just come out flying. Come out Saturday, put a beat down. You know, get your legs moving again, in front of your home crowd, and just go into Madison Square Garden as you always have as you have for the last like 5-6 years, whatever it's been, maybe 10. I don't even know, and just put out, give, just shut out these Rangers. Like, just get revenge is what I'm trying to say. Get revenge of what happened in the Stadium Series. Um, they just need to figure out. They just need to keep their cool. Honestly, like, you know, they're still playing well. You know, if they could stay the way they were playing during that 6 game, as Patrick Waugh was saying in one of the press, like they'll be fine. Um, Rangers still look good. They're fucking, except that they blew that game to Tampa last night. You know,
I did
I
see
had,
that. Yeah.
I had hockey out. Shout out Outlaws. Um, they had we went into the game like it was like 3-0, and then all of a sudden came back off the ice. It was 6-4, whatever the hell it was, 6-3, 6-4, whatever it was. And I was like, holy shit, I can't believe they blew that game. I thought they were in full control of that game. Well, that's how quick hockey can change. So that was kind of that kind of sucked that they lost that game. It also sucked for the Islanders because, you know, it didn't help them like points wise. But I mean, it's the Rangers are still winning. But you know, Carolina, they're creeping up here. You know, they may make a run for the for the top of the division. Like, they're making the run. They're you know, like I said before in the trade deadline, they got better. Like all the teams. Like right now the Rangers are sitting at 90 points and Carolina is sitting at 86. So they're making a run. So we'll see what happens with that. This might be an interesting Metro race. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got for hockey with everything else going on. Jets tweeted Joe Douglas being hugged by Robert Sala. That means they must have done something.
Aw.
They must have done something. Whatever.
Aw.
Whatever. All right. On to baseball. So
Yes, sir.
Brian's favorite sport. So I'm gonna just recap what's going on real quick. The Yankees are, seems like they're doing good, I guess.
Yankees are
I'm just
fucked.
kidding. I know they're doing good. Why are they fucked?
Well, because Garrett Cole's hurt.
Oh
He's
yeah,
gonna
well,
miss 2 months out of the season.
yeah, 1 to 2 months.
That rotation is in fucking shambles right
Oh,
now. I
they're
don't
eight
care
and
what anyone
12 with
says.
streams. I'm sorry. I'm not even really even paying attention to fucking spring training. Like the Mets are 9-9. I didn't even fucking know that, but
Nobody pays
nobody
attention to
pays
spring
attention.
training, but like, but the Yankee. Let's
But
you
Garrett
brought up
Cole,
the
yeah,
Yankees, so
let's
like,
start with the Yankees.
I'm
Garrett
I'm
Cole.
I'm I'm here right now. I'm here right
Go
now.
ahead,
So let's
go
just
for
get
it.
out of the way. The Yankees are fucked from a pitching standpoint. From a starting rotation standpoint, they're fucked. Like Stroman, okay, decent 3 starter. I don't envision him being anything good or better. I don't. Whatever. Right? Clark Schmidt, quality guy. He could probably throw a bunch of innings for you. Probably has like a 4.5 ERA, maybe even a little lower. Good for him. Rodon has looked like garbage, straight hot trash.
Super unfortunate.
Cortez, when Cortez is like healthy, he says last year his struggles were just based on the fact that he didn't really have a great spring training and a ramp up or whatever. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he's been really good career overall. But Garrett Cole going down for even a day, even being on the DL or the IR, whatever you want to say, so that we're not, offending anyone and we're politically correct. Him being out for any period of time is a huge blow to this pitching staff. Because now these are just more innings that your bullpen is going to have to absorb at some point because there's no way that somebody's going to be able to produce at the type of numbers that Garrett Cole is going to. So I think they're going to be in a little bit of trouble to start the year, honestly. I think their offense might prevail, but I don't know. Like, I I don't know. This is kind of like the Islanders, right? Like, how do you win if you're giving up 4 or 5 goals every night? How do you win if like your pitching isn't going to be as solid as you had originally thought it was?
Yeah, and it came
The
out
offense
that
is
they don't want to get Blake Snell either, even after the Garrett Cole injury. They don't even want to
well,
go
he's
after him.
probably well now Houston is realizing, we're like down 3 pitchers too. So now Houston's going to probably try to make a run at Snell, from what I was seeing.
Yeah,
So that's just going to put someone else off the board for them, even if they wanted to do a 1 year deal or a 2 year deal or whatever. So I just don't know how the Yankees fill in the innings, like in a way that's going to keep them in a position to, because at the end of the day, right, they just need to score more runs than the other team to win. Obviously, like that's common sense. I don't know how you do that with a pitching staff that's band-aided together. It's something the Mets have tried to do, and look where that's gotten the Mets.
yeah.
Nowhere. So it's going to be an interesting start to the year for the Yankees as they look to try to fill in some innings until Cole's back.
Yeah, well, I told you this off camera. I'm gonna say it now, just because we're talking about the pitching. But so, no credit to me. This is all to Side Retire Podcast. They were the ones that tweeted this out, but I'm just gonna read it because I want to talk about that as well. So you got Jacob DeGrom, Garrett Cole, Sandy Alcantara, Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Shane McClanahan, Kodai Senga, Walker Bueller, Clayton Kershaw, Brandon Woodruff, Kyle Bradish, and Lucas Giolito. They are all out for at least the beginning, if not more, of the 24th season. Something's not right. That's what they tweeted, end quote. Um, and I agree. Something's not right here. How is it that all these insane yeah, no, I'll stay with that. All these insane MLB pitchers that are usually your number one starters in your rotation all getting injured. Not even the season started yet, and it's been like that for the last 2 or 3 years. Well, some comments I saw is that because pitchers are trying to pitch faster and are throwing out their arms, or they're trying to do these crazy moves and they're, you know, obviously, like, once again, blowing out their arms because their elbows can't handle it. So, and I agree with the facts. You don't see these pitchers in control anymore. They go out there, try to pitch their hardest, and then blowing out their arms. Um, so I want to get your thoughts on that. Do you do you think there's something kind of like sketchy going on with that, or like trainers are not keeping up to date with pitchers, or pitchers are not telling trainers what's going on, or is it just the way baseball has developed in the last 5, 10, 20 years?
Yeah, I actually had a fun stat here, and I'm just trying to see if I can find it real quick. And it was about how like it was something along the lines of like Nolan Ryan and how he had like pitched like 13 innings and then came back on 3 days rest and threw a fucking no hitter or some crazy shit.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm I don't know. I think the list is kind of unfair because when you look at say DeGrom, the dude's been injury prone his entire career,
Yeah, he was
right?
like kind of the one
Um,
exception I thought didn't have to be included.
yeah, but then you look at a guy like Kodai Senga, who in Japan, the pitching schedule and the baseballs are different, the mounds are different, the schedules are different. So, um, you almost have to wonder if this is just him trying to reacclimate himself or acclimate himself to North American style of baseball. That could have potentially just kind of led to him over um, like overextending himself in his first season. Obviously, they relied on him heavily. But yeah, I think we've definitely seen a trend now of guys. But and again too, like there are a lot of guys on that list that have pitched a really really long time without any major like injuries. Like I don't believe Kershaw ever had Tommy John surgery. I know Verlander did, but Scherzer didn't. Garrett Cole never had Tommy John surgery. And these are guys that have pitched 10, 12, 15, 17 years in the league over 150 innings every single year. So at some point, obviously, it's going to catch up with age. But um, I know the pitchers were complaining a couple of years ago about how the balls felt different. And so I think that it's probably a mix of a lot of things. Um, I don't. I feel like we almost have to go back to the older style of how it was done with like um, the. I'm trying to think like again. I'm trying to think back to like say theoretically the Nolan Ryan era, but like he pitched a lot more frequently. Maybe he didn't throw as much during in between starts or something or whatever it was. Like I don't know what these guys have to do, but I feel like with all of the modern day sciences and all of the different things like for example if you ever have you seen the it's like a podcast that like Trevor Bauer's on with like that dude the like chunky like Asian dude that tries to hit all the crazy pitches, you know what I'm talking
No,
about?
I feel like I've seen the podcast, but no.
So it goes through like all of these different crazy training regimens that like Bauer goes through and they like showcase that. I just feel like he's literally insane, like
Who, Trevor
I
Bauer?
don't know. Yeah,
I
like
mean,
I
we
just
know
feel like
this. We know Trevor Bauer is just
well,
fucking
yeah, but
insane.
not him, but his regimen, I guess. Like I don't know. I feel like you're kind of setting yourself up. But I mean, everyone knows their own body. I think it's a culmination of a lot of things. I think guys are overcompensating. Guys are trying to like, throw a lot harder, and it's really more. It's less about the durability as it is about the like. Let's go as hard as I possibly can for like the longest amount of time possible instead of trying to make it through the whole game. Guys aren't pitching anymore; they're just throwing.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was my point from before. They're just going out there and pitching the hardest they can and then hoping for the best, you know?
Yeah, either.
Yeah, so
I agree.
I guess we can do season predictions sometime next podcast because we got another 2 weeks before
Sure.
the season starts. Um, but as of right
Yeah.
now, we got the Yankees struggling a little bit. Obviously, it's still spring training, but we could all say it's spring training, but you still kind of think about it and hope for the best. And the Mets are doing okay; they're kind of average right now. Um, I don't who's didn't somebody just get
Well,
injured on the Mets? No, so Diaz came back. That was a fun little. Thought that was exciting. I watched the clips; those are fun.
yeah, that was
That
cool.
was
It,
giving me a little
it
bit
was
of
good to get
chills.
him. Yeah, and you were showing me the LED lights then for next year where they're gonna
Yes.
go dark and
City Field's gonna
that's gonna
have
be cool
some
at the
brand
stadium.
new LED
Yeah.
lights, and they're gonna be going dark. They're gonna go crazy. I've been asking for this for like the last 5 years because I love that when I think the Ducks did it and the Yankees had it. Just a bunch of MLB teams. The Cardinals have had it for years. I love when they do crazy stuff,
Yeah.
and it's Steve Cohen has been a beauty to City Field.
Have you seen the guy on the Twins has it that their closer out there, Johan Duran? Have you seen his entrance?
Yeah,
It's
I
sick.
think so.
It's the lights and everything kind of goes off, which is pretty cool.
The
But
the
the Met,
Braves do it too. Every time they have somebody, they
yeah,
turn off the lights and
yep,
they have their cell phones out. That one's insane. That's fucking like,
that
we talk
one
about the Mets
that's
and
dark.
Diaz
Yeah,
and his
they just black
intonation,
out.
but like the blackout, oh my god.
Yeah, you don't even see him practically until he gets like right to the mound.
Yeah, that's scary. Like if I'm a visiting pitcher, oh my god. No, I'm sorry. If I'm a visiting batter, oh my god.
Yeah, that's gotta kind of suck.
Yeah.
Plus, in Atlanta, it's hot as balls and humid and shit.
Yeah. All right.
Imagine fucking standing there.
So
Fuck that.
Brian has made a list of players of. Why
So
don't you explain it, Bo?
yeah, so alrighty. So obviously, I know we touched upon this before. So Saquon goes to the Eagles. Had me thinking, you know, it would be interesting to see. Well, found a couple of things, did a little bit of research, right? So Saquon goes to the Eagles. Then I thought, damn, how many other players have gone from a New York based team south to Philadelphia recently? We saw it in the NHL, the NBA. Harden requested that trade down to the 76ers. He got that a few years ago. Um, the Mets have seen Zach Wheeler go down there. So then I got to really thinking, I was like, damn, I bet that there's a team of 26 MLB players that could be ridiculous that have played for the Mets or the Yankees and the Phillies. So I've come up with a little bit of a list with a couple of Hall of Famers on it. There are a few guys on here that are either in the Hall of Fame or that could possibly get in at some point. Um, and so, also, I got to thinking before I get to my list real quick. I also thought, well, maybe we're missing something here, right? Maybe the Philadelphia-based teams are just better. Like maybe we've gotten so big-headed over the past however many years. Like, oh, New York is the sports capital of the world. Maybe the New York teams are just not as good as the Philadelphia ones, right? So it becomes a more
Pretty
appealing
accurate.
destination.
Definitely accurate.
Wrong. Definitely wrong. So I did
Oh,
the math, right?
excuse me.
Yes, sir. So the Mets, the Jets. Well, let's do it like this, right? The Mets have made it to two World Series since 2000 and have lost both of them. The Yankees have made it a couple of times, four times, three times. Oh, 2000, 2001, 2003, and 2009, and they've won two. The Jets are zero. The Knicks are zero. The Islanders are zero. The Nets are zero. So then that brings them here. The Giants have. I think the Giants they made the Super Bowl. I think in like 2000. So I think I might have skipped one, but I
Yeah,
don't think they
they
won.
have
I don't.
two.
I don't. They have two rings since 2000,
Yeah,
right?
and they won them both.
Uh, yeah, right. Okay. The Rangers have lost the cup, and the Devils they won two Stanley Cups, I believe, early 2000s.
Yeah, I don't know if it
I
was
think my
two. It might have
math.
been one, but
Okay. Regardless, fuck it. Let's not even count the Devils then, because they're a Jersey team. They're kind of like that middle group.
well, I mean,
Either way, no.
they're still kind of like
Yeah, but
yeah.
if we're debating New York,
They won the cup in 2003.
all right, so they get a half a point here. Anyway, so the Phillies have made it three times and have won once. They lost to the Yankees. The Flyers haven't made it. The 76ers haven't made it. And the Eagles have also made it three times and won once. So altogether, New York has more rings than Philadelphia. So then I thought, well, shit, there's got to be a team out there that could win the World Series if you combined the Eagles, Christ Almighty, the Phillies, the Mets, and the Yankees together. Maybe we can post this to our story or something so that we can kind of see the whole list. But some notable names on this list. I'll run through the lineup real quick. Just I'm not going to explain anything. I'm just going to run through it. Now, these are the best guys that I found that I thought would be the highest quality of player. So my starting lineup for this all city team. Leading things off in center field, Kenny Lofton. Asdrubal Cabrera is playing third.
Wow,
Jay Bruce. Jay
not
Bruce is
Jay
playing first.
Bruce.
Jay Bruce is playing
Bruce.
first. Andrew McCutchen is in left. Bobby Abreu is in right. Neil Walker at second.
Okay.
Raul Ibanez is DHing in the 7 slot. Catching is Wilson Ramos. And then to round out this lineup, shortstop, Didi Gregorius. Now, our bench, there's a couple of guys on here that I'm a big fan of. So, Ty Wigington is on our bench with Miguel Cairo. Brian Schneider is our backup catcher. And then finally, for those of you who know me, my favorite Mets outfielder. Maybe like my third favorite Mets outfielder ever, only behind Beltran and Michael Conforto, is Indy Chavez.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Rotation, Pedro Martinez, Zach Wheeler, J.A. Happ, A.J. Burnett, and Tug McGraw. Tug McGraw, pitch for the Phillies. Honorable mention, someone who I didn't name, who I just realized now that I forgot. Lenny Nails Dykstra.
How could you
Was
forget
somebody
about
who
him?
played him. Because I took the best 26 guys I
He
thought.
should have just been like, you know what? I love you. I'm putting you on.
Yeah, so So I originally had it, but then I added an extra man to my bullpen. So let me round out my bullpen real quick. I have two long relievers. One of these spots could have gone to Dykstra, but I have Noah Syndergaard in long relief, and I
Jesus.
have Sid Fernandez in long relief, who pitched like 37 years. Ian Kennedy, Luis Avilan, and everyone's favorite former Mets closer, Jeurys Familia, are our middle relief corp.
Oof.
Our, t- our two setup men, Antonio Bastardo, who was a Met for half a season, and David Robertson. And then our closer, there's only one dude on this list who could be closer. One dude. And that is future Hall of Famer, better than Trevor Hoffman, and on a innings to innings basis has more strikeouts and less walks than Mariano Rivera, Billy Wagner.
There's a lot. It seems like a lot of Mets players play for Philly.
Well, if you think about it, right? Bruce, Abreu, Walker, Bruce Abreu, Walker, Miguel Cairo, I believe Sid Fernandez and David Robertson were all Mets and Yankees.
Yeah, but then it seems like every player you said was like a Met and then a I mean, a Met and then a Philly, or a Philly and then a Met.
Yeah, that was the fucking point, jerk off.
I
It
get it,
was a
but
guy
was
that
it
played.
for the
No,
Mets and Phillies, or was it for the Yankees and the Mets and the Phillies?
Yankees and the Mets and the
Yeah,
Phillies.
okay. So that's what no, I'm
Had
just
to
saying. Like
touch
more.
had to touch on all three.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
had
got
to
that.
touch all
I
three.
got that.
Well, not necessarily. Like there could be a guy like Raul Ibanez who's only a Yankee and a Philly.
Yeah, I got that. But I'm saying is,
Okay, I'm
it
just
seemed
checking.
like there was more that were only Mets and Phillies. Whatever.
I mean,
That's just not has nothing to do with the list.
I
It's
could
just
I
something
could
dumb.
do the math on it. I don't
No,
know. There's a couple of guys. I don't know.
I don't need the math on it. I was just
Anyway,
pointing that out.
whatever.
Anyway,
Anyway,
so
well,
interesting.
in well, yeah. So that's my list. I've doodled all over the page. Some of the doodles appropriate. Others, most of them are not.
You're that
So
Charlie Day
maybe
meme,
I
like with him, like
yeah
trying to
maybe
figure
I'll
out
just
everything and Always Sunny.
yeah maybe I'll just rewrite this or something if you want to post it up. But in other Mets news, former Mets third baseman J.D. Davis to the A's on a $2.5 million contract.
Is that
That dude got
is
fucked.
that brand new?
Yeah, just a couple minutes ago before we started. That dude got fucked over by the Giants. That was really, really fucked up with them. You saw that whole thing?
No, what happened? I mean, I know he got released, but
So, yeah, so, all right. So, I don't know the full premise of the rule, so if I say it wrong, forgive me. So, essentially, what had happened was JD goes to arbitration with the Giants, right?
yeah.
He files arbitration at 6.9 million. Giants come in underneath. They refuse to negotiate with him because they say that once you hit that deadline of not agreeing to their deal, they're not negotiating with you. They're automatically taking you to a hearing, right? So JD goes to a hearing. He wins the hearing, but arbitration salaries are not guaranteed. So the Giants sign Matt Chapman. The Giants then try to trade JD Davis. Can't, so they release him, meaning they don't owe him any of that 6.9 million. He has to go now and find a new contract at free agency. Obviously, no one was going to pay him that much money at this point in the offseason, so he settles for 2.5 million with Oakland because they cut him. And like
I thought I saw a report this
he's
morning that the Mets were interested in him, though.
they were, but I don't think they could have guaranteed the regular. This is where I was going to segue into actually with the Mets. So let me,
Oh,
I
my
guess,
bad.
segue into that, and then I'll circle back. No, so you saw the Mets were a part of that. It was like that futures game or whatever it
Yeah,
was
the
today.
future prospect with the Nats.
Right. So David Stearns did a press conference. I was watching some of it during lunch. So the general premise was that the Mets value both internal and external options, and on an individualized basis will evaluate which one has more potential to help the team. So when he elaborated on it, he's like, listen, like I could go out right now, like we could go out and sign a designated hitter right now, but is that going to hurt or help the two kids that we need to give playing time to, Beatty and Vientos. Like you have to weigh the pros and cons of that. And I guess for the Mets, they were in on JD, but couldn't guarantee giving him regular at bats
Yeah.
because of the presence of the other two guys. Plus, they both play third base. So for JD Davis, I guess by going to Oakland, he was able to guarantee himself more regular playing time, um, which makes more sense. I kind of agree with that. At least reestablish your stock going into free agency again next year. But um, interesting take by Stearns. I mean, he could have easily gone out, and the Mets could have paid JD, and they could have brought him back in. But I guess they just valued providing an opportunity to their kids to kind of showcase their skills and ability in what's going to kind of be a year that's kind of half punted, half not punted, if that makes sense. So, um, yeah, that's what I
Yeah, I
was
mean,
seeing.
I feel for JD. Like, getting released like that from a championship contending team, I guess you can call them, right?
Well,
Kind of.
they're
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 okay. They're average, but
they're trying to
yeah, they're
succeed.
trying. But having to go from that team to Oakland, where you're not gonna have fans at all because they're leaving for Vegas, and so it's like you're playing for 2 years of like kind of this. Okay, so let me regroup my point here. If I was JD, I would try to get my game going again. I would try to get my average up again. I would try to get my fielding to give yourself in 2 years that better opportunity when it comes. So for the Mets, that
But I
could
don't
be, but like Oakland, you're not gonna succeed there. Like the team itself.
I don't you know what's really shitty about this too, because I agree with you, but I feel like I also have a little bit of a different perspective on it too. I don't think he did anything wrong. I
No,
just
I
think
don't
this
think
is a
so either.
classic
That's
case.
not what I was saying at all either.
This is a classic case of him getting fucked over.
Yeah, no, I
Like
guess what I was saying kind of put out that he was doing something wrong. No, I just meant like he was having a good season with the Giants. Just you can always get your game better is what I mean.
yeah, I mean he's I think the one thing I noticed about JD Davis, especially when he was on the Mets, because I really liked him actually.
Me
I really
too.
thought that
I
he was
really
going to
liked
be
him as
someone.
well.
I did. I really thought he was going to be a building block of the organization. But
Yeah,
Alonzo, like, he came over that same year. Alonzo came up, and like I really thought those two guys were going
JD
to
was
kind of be the
clutch.
core going
He
forward.
was clutch.
He was, and if you look when they started not playing him, is when he started getting really, really inconsistent. So
Hmm.
like he's just one of those players that needs the regular reps. Like he's just not built to do the bench role. And like I get it. It's like, well, Brian, he gets paid millions of dollars. Like he needs to fucking play and perform when he's asked to, which I understand. But at the same time, like this is the same exact situation with Dom Smith. How do you expect a player to sit on the bench? Even Vientos, we've seen it multiple times with him over the past 2 years. They just sit him on the bench. Dude's killing it in AAA. They bring him up because he rightfully deserves to be on the team, and they just put him on the bench. And then you expect him to go in there and hit a 103-mile-an-hour fastball. Like that's not going to work. You need to let the kid play.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to JD Davis, like I don't know. I don't. It's not that I don't like Matt Chapman, but again, like just kind of like with the whole Blake Snell thing. I know we were talking about that. There's a reason why teams weren't giving him the contract that he was looking for.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he had to settle. Like if I was the Giants, knowing that you had a guy in house that had relationships with players on the team and was part of the clubhouse and integrating himself to the organization and to the community and to the fan base, and I wouldn't have made the move for Matt Chapman, honestly. But that's just me. Like, yeah, he might be a little bit better offensively than JD at full capacity, but like JD wasn't a bad player. He's not a bad player at all.
Well, let me ask you, like,
Um,
gun to your head, who would you rather have, JD Davis or Matt Chapman at your third base, if you're the Giants?
I mean, over the last 2 years, if you want to
No,
just look
no,
at the
no, no.
last 2 years,
Don't
I
even think
wouldn't.
about it. Just literally, who would you rather have?
Probably JD Davis.
Wow. Okay, I was gonna say Matt Chapman.
It's, I mean, yes, defensively and offensive potential. Yeah, I mean, I think overall Chapman is probably the better player, but um, I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't pick
It's
him.
a hard decision
I
because
wouldn't.
we like JD Davis. We like him as a person, as a player, whatever, because he played for the Mets. But
I'm
like,
definitely biased on this one.
yeah,
There's no doubt about
but
it. I
me, I think
just
I would choose Matt Chapman just because of his history of being like, I don't want to say elite player, but a decent player in the MLB.
yeah.
So I could see what you
You know
mean
what it
by the
is.
bias and toughness.
You know what it is too. I don't. I think if I was the Giants, and like yeah, they've missed out on a lot of big free agents over the years, so they kind of have a lot of the money that they've wanted to allocate still just kind of sitting there. Like they missed out on Harper, they missed out on Judge, they missed out on Otani, and all these other guys. Right? You can kind of go down the list. They couldn't get Stanton, they couldn't get Yamamoto. Like there's so many dudes that they've just missed out on. Um, and for me, I don't know why you have a guy who's making $7 million. Who's a quality player. He's going to hit 250 to 275, probably hit about 15 to 20 homers. Why are you trying to upgrade that for a significantly higher salary?
Yeah, I don't know.
Use that money to go build a bullpen or something, build a rotation.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
it's like also with these talks. Like I had when you were saying that, my thoughts were about this was like all these new like these teams that were kind of like irrelevant for the last like 3 years, 2 or 3 years, are now signing these big free agents, are now becoming relevant again. You know, I think that's kind of interesting. And like you have the bigger teams like the Yankees, the Mets, the Giants, the Dodgers. I mean, obviously the Dodgers are signing the fucking big players, but just some of these big teams, excluding the Dodgers, are not getting these big free agents because they have too much payroll, you know. So I want to know what you think of these talks of Soto coming to the Mets when he hasn't even
Well,
started his season with the Yankees yet, and there's talks of him coming to the Mets. What the fuck is this about?
I, I mean, that would be great. Remember when we talked about the trade originally? I said this could be a great opportunity for him to showcase to the Mets that he can handle New York.
Yeah, this is like him
Um,
proving he can handle New York in
yeah,
New York
this
first, and
is
then
his. Yeah, I mean, in the Bronx, nonetheless, too. Like that's if I had to pick a harder fan base to try to represent and play for and like be successful in front of, it's definitely the Yankees.
oof. I don't know. That's a hot take, in
I
my
would
opinion.
really,
Yeah, no, like I
I
think
would
it's harder
say
to play for the
I
Mets.
I think it would be harder to play for the Yankees because of the level of expectation that the fans have. And that's nothing against Met fans.
No,
It's just I like for Met fans like I don't know, theoretically, right? Or just thinking about it. The Mets traded for Lindor, right?
mhm.
Remember his first
Yeah, his
season?
first
He was
season, people went
ass.
after him,
Dude was fucking
but
terrible.
that's
And
what I'm
honestly,
saying.
the first thing I thought of was like, here we go again. Like this is just another disaster.
When he was asked, though, I wasn't one of those people that was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be awful." No, I was like, "All right, he's just settling into New York. Let him get acclimated
Well,
here and let him
yes,
figure it out." But so you saying that
but
the Yankees?
but
No, continue. Go ahead.
well, not to cut you off, but like the Yankees still give Giancarlo, like their fans still give Giancarlo Stanton shit,
Yeah, that's true.
and like
True.
he's been very good. Like he's been sneaky good. I think honestly, yes, he's been hurt. Yes, there have been times
Oh,
where he's
that's
been
why.
ass.
He's because he's
I
always
know he
hurt.
hasn't performed. Yeah, but I know he hasn't really performed the way that he probably should be in the playoffs. But like,
Yeah.
he's been a very good player for them, and the fact that they really didn't have to give up a lot to get him says a lot about like I don't know. I just they're still giving him shit. Whereas if he was on the Mets, it would be I think a different feel.
It's you know what? Yeah, you're saying that, but like in my opinion, so my thing, I think it's harder to play for the Mets because you could become a fan favorite in probably like 5 games as a Mets player. You can hit fucking 5 home runs in those 5 games and instantly become a fan favorite. But let's say you're not, right? You don't do anything. You have a below 200 average. The Mets fans will come after you and they will beg for you to be traded or
Oh, like Jay Bruce.
for somebody else to be called up in your place. Like I remember when people were complaining about Dom Smith not doing what he was supposed to do. Like he was better off the bench. Let's admit that, you know. But then when he would start, people were like going after him because he was starting. But that might be a little bit of a bad example. But just really anyone that would make no sense for him to be starting or even be in the lineup. Mets fans will come after you if
because
you're not performing the way you were supposed to do. And that yeah, that goes
because
for the
I
Yankees too. But
think
like it's just I feel like in my opinion, it's just harder for you to play as a Met than it is for a Yankee because the Yankees they will ride your fucking dick for miles, miles,
yeah, but I think
hours.
Miles, I think I think but if you think about it this way too, right? Like the Met fans, when the Mets go out and they actually make an acquisition that you're like, holy shit, I can't believe they just did that, right? So
Yeah,
like
you go crazy. That's how
Javi
big their acquisitions are.
Javi Baez, right?
Mhm.
Remember that a few years ago?
Yeah,
And he was fucking terrible. And then him and Lindor together, that created a whole thing because they started booing the fans and shit. And then it was a disaster, right? But as soon as
they went
Baez
crazy
got
to get her
hot,
on the field though.
the Met fans embraced the shit out of Baez. And honestly, I wanted them to re-sign him.
Me too.
I know he's been terrible. I'm glad they didn't in
Yeah, in
hindsight.
hindsight, I'm glad they
But
didn't either. But
but I wanted that because I was like, damn, this guy could be fucking awesome. And he could play second, he could play short, he could play third. You could probably throw him in center field if you had to in a pinch. Like he could literally play everywhere. You could still keep kind of your depth. You could still have your prospects. You can kind of just build around this guy as like a Ben Zobrist versatile piece, and like it'll work because he's that good. And like obviously he didn't, and I know he's been struggling, but like I just feel like the Met fans put so much pressure on right away. Well, I guess this is kind of proving your point. Now I feel dumb, but like I feel like I feel like in a sense like the Met fans put so much pressure on where the Yankees fans are just like, yo, like we've been here before. You need to fucking do what you need to do. The Met fans are like, yo, what the fuck?
well,
I don't know. I feel like you struggle. The Met fans know your shit, and then
well, the whole
it's not a
story
proving
here,
point.
the whole basic of it is that it is hard to play in New York with both fan bases being on your neck and not and either supporting you right away if you do what you're supposed to do or you're not living up to expectations. So, I
Yeah,
think
it's hard to play when you're getting your dick ridden for
for
miles.
miles and miles. Oh Jesus. Yeah, so brutal. All right. Well, I think that's enough baseball. Season hasn't even started, and we're taking half hour.
Wait, I don't even think we talked about the What was your Juan Soto question? Do I think he should sign with the Mets?
Yo, forget about
Yes.
that, bro.
Wait, hang on. Let me touch on this real quick.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
So the Mets. So like, I really like Justin Verlander. I even liked him when he was a Met and he was healthy, right? But him being injured is kind of a good thing for the Mets because keep in mind, if he there was a certain threshold of innings he had to pitch this year to trigger an option for next year for 17 million. If he doesn't hit that threshold, I don't believe the option gets triggered. Therefore, at the end of this year, the Mets could be off the hook for Scherzer. They could be off the hook for Verlander. So there's a lot of money going to obviously come off the payroll. That's 86 or 87 million dollars combined. I think if you take that, you add Juan Soto, you throw a fucking starting pitcher in there, you bring up some kids, you let the kids play a little bit. That's could be a fucking. They got to extend Alonso too, 8 years, 280. But the Mets could be dangerous going into next year. I would give Juan Soto 10 years, 500 million.
Maybe, maybe.
10 years, 500.
I don't
That's
want.
what I would
I don't
pay him.
want another Bryce Harper contract, but
Why Harper's been great for the Phillies.
yeah, but I don't want to pay a guy for
Dude's been awesome.
15, 14, whatever the hell amount of years it was.
Dude's been incredible.
I didn't
That
like it.
dude's getting
I didn't like him
he's getting
in
better.
Washington.
He's getting better every single year. But the Phillies too, and I know we're not gonna indulge on this, but the Phillies fucked themselves over. They knew they had a very tight window to win, and so they maximized. They bought the shit out of that team. Turner for 11 years, Harper for all those years, all the money they gave Nola, and They just there was no reason to like do all that, but they did because they knew they wanted to try to win, and I get it. But the Phillies in like 6 years are gonna just be like a dud.
Yeah, they're not gonna be as good as you hope they are.
No, they're gonna be garbage.
Yeah,
So
that's what
like, I don't
happens
think
when
the
teams
Mets should
pay
do that. Yeah, but
overpay.
yeah, but I think Soto. If that's why you limit it to 10 years, he's gonna be 36 in 10 years. That's not technically old.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's gonna be declining, but like Harper's gonna be in his 40s when that contract comes up. So will Turner. Fucking Soto is gonna only be 36.
yeah,
Put escalators on it for the back end of it. If he hits well in year 8 and 9, then there's not an 11th year option that automatically gets triggered or something. I don't know. That's what these guys get paid for. Fucking figure it out. But you build this team around Juan Soto, Alvarez, Beatty, Mauricio, Lindor, and imagine a 3-4-5 in a lineup, or even if it's like a 1-2-3 or whatever. Imagine fucking running Nimmo out there in the one spot, then like Lindor 2, Soto 3, Alonso 4, Alvarez 5, Beatty 6, Viento 7.
I would switch
Trade McNeil,
Soto and Alonso for some reason.
trade McNeil because he's a scumbag. I like McNeil. I like McNeil when McNeil is Jeff McNeil. When Jeff McNeil tries to be Pete Alonso and hit 50 homers a year, Jeff McNeil sucks. But when Jeff McNeil hits 300 or 330 and wins the batting title, I like Jeff McNeil. That's what they need. Do play to your strengths. Don't try to be anyone else.
Yeah,
I remember,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know about your dad. I don't know about your dad. My dad, I used to get up there and I used to be like, yo, I'm going to hit like David Wright. And I'd get up there and I'd be like, and then I'd swing and I'd miss and I'd fall on my ass. And I'd get up and he'd be like, try being Brian, not David Wright. You know why you can't be David Wright? Because you suck and you swing like shit.
Nah, I quit
And I'd be
baseball at
like,
a very,
alrighty then.
very young age, so I really never got that type of criticism. But the only time my dad ever gave me criticism was when he benched me in T-ball. He was our coach for a game, and he took the authority to bench me for the rest of the game in T-ball. So
Why, were you being a little bitch?
I was probably being a little brat. So thanks a lot, Dad.
You always.
I am now 25, 24, 25 years old, and that was when I was like 6, and that has lived with me to this day.
Matt's Mr. Oliver, Matt's dad. That did not work. I think you need to punish him. I think
Oh,
we need
he's
to
gonna
spank him or
he's
something.
gonna
We need to punish.
if he listens to this, he's
We
gonna
need
kick my ass.
we need to punish him. Like we need to like lock him away somewhere because he's a little brat. He's disrespectful.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
All right, well, we're not David Wright, so we're just podcasters, you could say. But
Yeah, we're mid.
we're mid.
Honestly,
All right, well,
we're mid.
shout out to Hofstra for getting once again 30 in a row, losing to a losing seed, Stony Brook. You Jesus Christ, I was pissed off at that game. Whatever. St. John's looks like they're gonna make it into March Madness for the first time since 2018 after their big win against Seton Hall. What's going on, everybody? So, right there was when Brian's whole camera and microphone decided to cut out and basically just stop recording everything. So we did lose 2 minutes of, I guess, recording time right there. But really nothing else was said. We were just signing off, or at least trying to. But just wanted to get on here and just give you guys a heads up on what happened. And just wanted to tell you guys to make sure you follow us on social media. On We Talkin NY on everything. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and hopefully you see this. And hope you guys have a good rest of your week. We'll see you guys soon.